Everyone should have gotten like a notification that we're live streaming, I think. Yeah. Cool. And yeah, with that, I'm gonna share my screen. Cool. Does everybody see like our wonderful app here? Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's perfect.
Awesome. Right. So where were we last time? So what I've done here, this is like really hard to read, but this is has just built our app. All I did was run Yarn iOS in our projects, and that has built up our app here. We have the React Native development server as the Metro bundler running here. So it's serving up any changes that we make in our app code, serving them up live. So if we go and change something like that, we get the live updates. Our app is not organized at all right now. It is just this project here, these files. Everything right now is in this app.js file. So we have like the home screen, the add a beer screen, and my beers. I think what we talked about is this is some kind of home screen that we're going to do. This is going to be like adding of beers. So if you were here last week and forgot, or you weren't here last week, the idea for this app is basically having a being able to keep an inventory of the beers that you have in your beer cellar, as well as being able to eventually have a marketplace with other users. So it's like the social aspect that will make this a more complex application for us to build, where you can basically say like, hey, I want to sell this beer. Hey, I'm looking for this beer, and be able to buy or sell beer. This is meant for like rare beer connoisseurs and aficionados, kind of thing. So you probably wouldn't be putting like your Bud Lights and Miller Lights and stuff here, but you might. There's not going to be any kind of preventive measures around that. So it's just going to be right now a home screen, adding a beer, and an inventory of your beers, and then we'll probably build in like the social aspect soon. In terms of the code, what we did last time was we initialized the React Native app with the React Native CLI, and we brought in React Navigation, which is the most popular React Native navigation library. We also talked about some of the others like React Native Navigation. I think we also did a naive implementation, if you recall, of navigation, where we created our own JavaScript-based navigator. But React Navigation actually gives us native performance on iOS and Android, which is what we want. Yep, and then we also had to bring in a set of vector icons. So we just decided to bring in React Native vector icons, which is a really popular library for bringing in vector icons, and it comes with like a dozen different super popular icon libraries. We walked through like the linking of like installation and linking of these things as well, and you can see that in the video that'll be on YouTube shortly from last week. In terms of what we've actually written here, we've created this bottom tab navigator. That's this thing down here. It's wrapped in this navigation container and this tab navigator. inside. This is all like just a very basic boilerplate from the React navigation site. We literally copy and pasted it into our app here. And then we just declared a couple routes here. This is actually saying what the value of icon name will be. So this component is the icon here. And then the actual tab screens are here. Yeah. And then here are the screens: home screen, add beer screen, my beer screen. And all they are is a view, which, if you remember, is like in React Native land, this is like a div would be on web. And text is like a any kind of text tag from web, like a heading or a p tag or something like that. It's very similar. But you just have this one text component in React Native.
Hey, Eric.
Have some basic styles here. Yeah, any questions?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask. So with React navigation, it's pretty popular. You typically don't have people using keyboard navigation on your phones, but you do occasionally have people using something like voice-assisted navigation. Do you happen to know if React navigation offers any accessibility capabilities?
That is a good question. I don't know. Let's look that up. So I'm just going to bring over Chrome here. Let's look at the docs. Accessibility. So it does support accessibility labels. That's good. So it looks like we have it for screen readers. We have support, and it looks to be out of the box support. So if you have a label, it looks like if you have a label already on your component, you don't need to add this. But if you don't have a label, it looks like you need to add that. And it looks like they have this open ticket that's been open for a long time to address accessibility. So I would recommend probably like reading through this to see like where they're lacking. I would guess that they have to be lacking if they just left this open for so long. Okay. Hope that helps.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I thought what we could do first is like I think we can keep these screens as they are, but we can probably start cleaning up a bit of like not everything should just be in this like app.js app.js file. So I thought we'd get into like a little bit of structuring real quick. I think we might have talked about this a little bit before. But I'm gonna make a few folders, and then I'm going to make some files in there. And these are just conventions. There's nothing magical about these names of these folders, but these are common conventions of like naming conventions I've seen, or folder structures I've seen. So in here, I'm going to have like home.js. What else do we have? We had add beer.js and my beer.js. Let's call that. So I'm just going to make a screen for each one of these screens here, just like a screen file. And all I'm going to do right now is copy this stuff over. add beer, paste that into add beer, add beer screen, paste it into here. I think this is probably going to be easier. So I'm just like doing some boilerplate, but this will help like our organization, especially as these become like much more developed screens. Stand up actually. So we do that, and then we export default my beer screen. Anybody have any questions about what I'm doing so far? Cool. I hope that's a good sign. So if it's not totally clear what I'm doing, I'm creating these new files, these new JS files. They're going to be like where we have this like these screens defined. They're going to be in a folder called screens, which is going to be also nested in a new folder called SRC, which is short for source. And so all of our screens are going to live there. So no matter how many screens we end up creating of like these routes, which is another name, we could have named this instead of screens, named it routes. But that's just where they're going to live. So anytime we come back, like let's say this project really takes off, we've got like 20 developers working on it full time, bring in the 21st developer, and they're like, where are the screens? Where is the code for the screens? They know it's probably in the screens folder. This organizational stuff you'll probably start to see it pay off like as we get further along, but things like this that I know that we're gonna want to do, I'm gonna do early. Yeah. And you'll see like we're already duplicating some code here too, so I'm gonna like also segue into another organizational thing to do with React Native. But first, let me finish this up. So I'm gonna delete. I'm gonna crash our app. Are you ready? Oh no, I can't find the variable home screen. Looking for it here in our tab navigator. We don't have it. So one thing I could do, we'll talk about like organizing the imports as well. But one thing I could do is I could go like this. Import home screen from, yeah, thanks VS Code. That actually is right. So I can import home screen from this dot source slash screen slash home. That's one way. Now we're gonna error on the add beer screen. Yes, thank you, VS Code. And then we're gonna error on the my beer screen, right? And then hey, we're back. So now all these screens are actually these components here, and we're saved. Another technique though, because like this could be like, let's say we get like a bunch more screens in this app, and like we're just importing like all these screens from here, and like we probably want to do other things in our app.js file or wherever we're doing this. So another technique, I don't think we actually need this right now, but I just want to show it, is so I could do this. Whoop. So I'm Command D here to like select all those same things. We do like this and then export home screen, beer screen. I'm just showing this as like as an example of what you could do if you wanted to. So I could basically bring this to like one line. It's just like that. Home screen, add beer screen, my beer screen. That's like another pattern you could use. Does the same thing. You see, I can prove that this is working by doing like that. Now it's working again. That's like another technique. This can be useful for like if you've got a folder that's a bunch of component files and you just want to export like a whole list of them, you could do it like that. That's one way. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, Serge had asked, or Sergey had asked, can you use wildcards in import? And I'm wondering if he means inside of the index.js.
Like something like that? You have to do like that. No? Oh, you could do like screens. Something like that. And then each one of these would be like, I think this would work. Yeah. You do something like that. I've seen something like that before. So the way this is working, like JavaScript wise, is we're declaring a default export here. So like if some file just wants to import whatever is the default from this file and name it whatever, it's going to do that. So that would be like something like almost reads like that. Import like whatever from as screens. Or you could, if you really wanted to make it super, you see where I'm going with this, where like as screens and then take them off. I think you could do that as well. But does that work? That doesn't work. But that's how I read like that in my head at least. Another thing, I always forget how to do this because I only do it like once in a project. But I always do this is what are they called? Alias. Crap, I can't remember what this is called.
Talking about directory aliases.
Yeah. I always forget. I think it's in Metro that I need to do it. I know I need to do it in TypeScript when we bring TypeScript into this project. Native Metro. So like, I'm just gonna search for this. Module aliases. I think that is it. Yes. By package JSON. Oh, is it? Is it in the package JSON? Okay. Metro config. No module TypeScript support. React. Oh, that is like, that's super gross. So they're saying you can also do it by creating a package JSON inside of each folder. That seems really messy. If you don't like to create that many package JSONs, that's me. Yeah, it is in the Metro config resolver. We got transformer resolver. So I guess it's like this is all we need. Transformer ends here. So resolver Source. I mean, we can keep that one. Screens. I wonder if this is going to work like this, though. We could try it. So basically, this will allow us to then say something like that. No, not like that. Hold on. Screens. All right. Well, I don't want to waste too much time. I'm just going to look really quick here to see if there's like a quick. May have to rebuild the app, in which case I'm not going to do this. I'm going to skip this. We will set this up later. It is very nice to do something like this, but not if it's going to take the rest of the time for me to debug it. Let's save that for later. All right. Yeah, one other thing that I like to do really quickly too is do something like this, like a style file, and then write some like typography dot JS and colors.js. We could just like make this pretty simple for right now. But if you notice, like we had in our different files here, excuse me, some like hard-coded colors, like this blue and this red and hard-coded like font size. And this is already now repeated through 3 files. So if we like, this is something that's really common. Like imagine we have like a product manager we're working with, or like the sales team or marketing team, and they've been like, hey, actually Beer Cellar's new brand color isn't just red. It is like this different shade of red, which is something that happens pretty frequently. Or another cooler example is let's say we're like, oh, we should do dark mode. Well, it turns out like this red is not the red that we want to have during like in dark mode, because it doesn't look good on black or dark gray. Same with this. So the way to solve this is to never use literal colors, or also same goes for sizes in any of your components. And always rely on like a colors constants file, a typography constants file for like the font sizes, or you can have like a smart component, like we could have like a BC text for beer cellar text component, and the BC text has like all of our styles built in. That's going to be something we do when we bring in TypeScript, because I'm going to show off like what I think is one of the most useful things with TypeScript is having those complex components giving you type aheads as you're typing as a developer for what the actual styles are that you can have. So, but for right now, I'm just going to do like some things like this. So big, what we can call this big text equals 98. I think that was the size here. Yeah, there we go, 98. Yeah, I'm just going to do this real straightforward and simple here. We're going to export that from typography, and then we're going to export like brand color. Should probably also make sure our syntax is good. And then export const background color. For right now, we'll probably change these later. But it's also easier, like if you call everything brand color, you call everything background color that's using it instead of blue or red. If you have like multiple things that are red in your code base, it's really hard to do a find and replace all accurately. But if you want to just get the brand colors that are red, now everything is just called brand color, like here. Then you can do a find and replace if we want to say like brand color and something else. So it's going to import it. Okay.
And this type of naming convention gives your variables more of a semantic meaning. So it's not just red, it's your brand. And that tells the developer that, oh, I don't care if it's red. It could be purple, it could be yellow. All I care about is this color. That's our main brand color.
Very good call out. Yep. We're bringing that in, and then we're bringing in, what was the last one? It was
big text.
Thank you. Cool. So now we got all those. I'm just going to copy and paste this over here. And then we got that. So we've also violated like another, also violated like another software engineering principle, which is like, don't repeat yourself. With these, so like each one of these is already like has exact, everything is the same. Like all these lines of code are exactly the same except for like what the component's called and like the text on the side. So we could probably go in further and like clear these out, but I'm going to hold off on that for just a minute. Anybody have any questions so far? Comments, concerns, interests?
I think the entire audience knows exactly what you're doing.
Am I going too fast, too slow, just right?
Sergey actually does have a question. Can you use CSS files for styling?
Oh, that is a good question. No. So you can't. React Native, it looks like CSS, but it's not quite CSS. And actually, it's a giant deception. It's a deception meant to make developers' lives easier. I can say with 100% confidence that like making this like Flexbox and CSS is a lot easier for web developers to do mobile layouts. And I would also contend that this is an easier way to do mobile layouts than like the way Xcode and Android Studio do layouts, which are weird kind of concepts for coming from like the web world of like scenes and storyboards and stuff. But it's not actually CSS. There is on the React Native docs, if you search for style, I believe, I may have this too big right now. There is, yeah, this layout with Flexbox. So this explains sort of how React Native layout uses like a Flexbox-like layouting system. It's actually a system called Yoga underneath the hood here. There are a couple of differences that it goes into here, like the flex direction is actually defaulted to column instead of row in React Native because it makes more sense that the default layout is a vertical Flexbox on a mobile screen, as well as like a couple other things. The biggest thing I would say is like, or two biggest things is one, there is only Flexbox based layouting. There's not like a grid or whatever other layouting systems are on web. what are they, block and inline and all that. Like that doesn't exist in React Native land. It's just Flexbox based, which is nice, simple, and you can achieve like any layout. Centering things is also very easy in this system. And then the other thing is like there's no cascading. So like if I have like if I say in this container like the color for like text color should be pink, and I don't, excuse me, and I don't have like a color here in CSS land, because this container is wrapping this hello text style, and because there's no text color, you would probably assume that the color was going to be pink. As you see, it just defaults to what the default text is. And that's because there's no C. This is just style sheet. There's no cascading. There's no inheriting of the style from above. Keys frameworks like Tailwind CSS or Bootstrap. You can't use them. Well, you can't use Bootstrap directly. I think there's like a library out there, I'm sure, that gives you like the bootstrappy like layouting, but you probably want to go for something more either that you make yourself or use a React Native specific style framework, because boot like the benefit of like React Native, I think overall, is like you get to use your basically your React and web development skills, but you get a native app. So if you were to use something that looks like Bootstrap in your React Native app, you're kind of like almost losing one of the main benefits, which is your users are going to feel like it's native. If it looks like Bootstrap, people are going to be like, oh, this just feels like the web on a phone, which is one of the things you should probably steer clear of if you're doing a React Native app. You want it to feel mobile or feel like native on mobile. I'm letting my opinions shine through, I think, there, but I hope that helps.
There are component libraries out there, but like you're saying, you want to make sure that conforms to the device that you're targeting. Is that a good way to say it?
Yeah. And like a Bootstrap, like if Bootstrap you just take it from web, like you're not going to get but one, it won't work. But if it looks like Bootstrap, like it'll smell bad to the users, if I can say that. But there are a lot of frameworks now that do like cross platform. So like I think Ant Design is one. I think Ant Design has React and React Native components, like component library. There's some other ones out there as well. These are pretty helpful. I will say though, like if you're asking about using a CSS framework because CSS is hard, which is totally valid. Like trying to make a CSS framework from scratch is like a pretty huge project and undertaking to get it to work on like across browsers and devices and all that. If that's the only reason though that you want to lean on a CSS framework like Bootstrap with a React Native app, I would say give it a shot building out your styling yourself, because it is a lot easier in React Native than it is on web. I think there's one, like the constraint of just being a Flexbox based layout. I think actually makes it a lot more powerful because it's a lot easier. I would say that I spend almost no time like getting a layout to work or look right in React Native if I have like a design file or something like that, because it's fairly straightforward. And we'll do that here too. We'll build stuff out ourselves from scratch with styling. It's not that CSS is hard. frameworks just help to organize things and make code more readable. Yep, that's a fair argument too. Cool. All right. Any other questions before we get back into it here? All right. Cool. So I think it's time we allow ourselves to add a beer here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of my screens, except for the add beer one. I'm going to take a second to think about the structure here. So like we said in the first one, like Taylor and I have only done like very loose, high level, kind of like what we want to do with this project. And we are trying to not prepare as much as possible so you can see what it's like to think about these as a developer and like what kind of thoughts go through your head. Or at least that's the excuse that we have with not preparing. So I'm thinking about now, like the main feature we have to build first is the ability for a user to add a beer. The approach I like to take with building out any feature essentially is always start with like mocking everything, like doing it fake, and then making it work for realsies. So like, if we really want this to work, we probably want to have cloud storage set up. So this is being saved. For that, we would need like a user service. So the user could be authenticated and save data to their user's inventory of beers. So we need to create like a schema for that as well. I think all of that stuff we can put on the back burner for the time being while we're building the UI.
Sounds like a lot of work.
I
just want to save a beer. I just want to save a beer.
Exactly. I think we can do all like, so we'll definitely come back to that backend setup. This is a full stack project that we're building here anyway, so we have to. But for the time being, I think we can store it all, figure out what the flow is like as quickly as possible, and then we figure out how the system should actually work. Sound good? Let's go. Let's do it. All right, please add a beer. I'm just gonna talk out loud as I do these things. So this screen looks nothing like it should. I think we should pick a better color. I have this. I don't know if anyone has seen this so far, but I have this like new Chrome tab thing that just gives me a color palette every time. I didn't plan this one, but this is our new color palette for right now. So I guess we're going dark mode first. Screen background color. Let's do like, I don't know, dark. Is this bad? I don't know if this is bad. Oop, that's bad. That's super bad. I don't like this at all. Screen background color. Read this. We're gonna bring in dark and light mode. We're not gonna do that right now, but we're going to just go dark mode first, I think. let me go change this stuff too. Screen options. Let's see. I'm gonna just show all this, the whole process here. React navigation, background color, tab, bar. Unable to change. No, that's not what I want. Let's see. It's in one of these. I always forget if it's like nested in the screen options or in options, description, tab bar, label, no. Oh, just like color, tab bar icon, no, or badge style, tab bar active tint color. Ah, yes, this one. Tab bar options. Tab bar active tint color. Can I do it right here? Tab bar active background color. And we want this as a screen background color. It's going to work for us. Yeah, so it gives us that. Ooh. What about like color? Do I have anything? Tab bar background. I want like the whole. Do I have to do it in the style object? I hope I don't have to. Screen background color. Can I just add a color here? No. Okay. I think I have to do it in the whole style here. Screen options, style, tab bar style, and then it wants like, it looks like it wants a object, a style object. So we will give it a style object, background color, and then screen background color. And let's see if that works. Hey, that works. So we don't really need this active. We don't want to change the, like, this is what this will do. Is like change the whole tab for that. That's gross. We don't want that. We already have like the active red color. I think that's not that bad. We probably just want to make this like our actual, like we were talking about having real color variables for everything. So this should be like brand color. TypeScript's on fire, or not TypeScript, VS Code. Well, the TypeScript running underneath VS Code on these imports, like it's hitting them every time. It's really nice. We got another color literal here. Tab bar inactive tint color. So one thing you could do is like that. And tab bar inactive tint color. We import this from here.
The name's off.
Inactive.
Yeah.
Oh. Thank you. I think we can even, so we named it the same thing. I don't like this for code of readability, but this works in JavaScript. Oh, there's like a fancy name for this with objects. I can't remember right now off the top of my head, but this is the same. If they're the same name, you can do it like this. I use this occasionally in some places, but not in a place like this where the line above is literally not using that convention. So we'll call it like that. I also don't like this because, like, what's the point of having this if it's so specific. So I'm gonna just call this like gray, because that's all it is. It's our gray color. For the time being. And we may come back and we may say like, hey, this is like this gray, or this is this gray. Oh, thank you, Taylor. Object property value shorthand just rolls off the tongue. That was that where we could do, if they were named the same thing in an object, we do that. But does this make sense for everybody? This is kind of like, all of this is just one prop. And it's almost like 20 lines long inside of this tab navigator. I don't like that this is how these options are written right now. We'll probably come back and clean this up, but does everyone understand sort of what's going on here? We're telling this tab navigator that controls the tabs down here as well as the titles up here, and what screen, what component we're actually mounting and showing. We have a little bit of logic here that's saying that, well, here's that tab navigator. It's getting this prop called screen options, which is like all this stuff that we're passing to it. Screen options takes the route. So that's like the route that it's actually on. So this is home or add view or my view. And it passes it through. So you can use route if you want to inside of these options, which we do down here. But tab bar style, that's just a simple thing we're passing in this object here. When giving you the background color, it's our screen background color. Tab bar icon is where we have a bit more logic, which is also taking in a focused color and size. And it's deciding like what actual icon we're showing here, the plus sign, home screen, here, based on the route name. And returning that icon with the icon name. Yeah. And yeah, and then we're showing the tabs. Make sense? Any questions so far?
Your designer called. They said that your contrast ratio is not good enough.
Oh, really? Is it bad? Oh, the gray on gray.
That and the red on gray.
Okay. Let's move to our new randomly selected design. I mean, it's coming from this new Chrome tab. It's got to be right. It's got to be good. What about like this? Would this? I don't even know where that would fit. Does that work in any way? We got a contrast checker. Okay. Okay. We can do this. We can do this. Three. That's not a good one, right? We need a better one.
Well, depends on the size of the text. I think for the navigation, it might fail.
Okay.
At least for the navigation text.
What about this? It's better, but still not good enough. This is worse contrast, right? Yeah. Maybe we need to make the other thing darker. Make that darker. Ooh. All right, we got to get that AAA. Like I'm going for this guy right here. Oh, we got it. That is very dark though. It's still a little too dark.
I mean, you could always use something like a white or light gray for the text.
Okay. How about this one? That. So gray is now that, which is not gray at all. And background color is now that.
It's where semantic naming comes into play.
Yes. Oh, we still have this beer thing. Active tab bar active tint color. I think. Can we use any of these? What if I do, does this contrast checker Can I like pick a red or something?
You should go with a light pink.
Light pink. What's like light pink hex color? I just need something to start with at least.
Yeah, that's the named color, light pink.
There we go. There we are. FF D1 D7. I've always loved it. All right, we got a light pink, and we're gonna bring that in. Oh, was that our brand? Is that our new brand color? It's a little too light, isn't it?
Yeah, not enough contrast with the non-selected, the inactive color.
Yeah, should be darker, right? Oh, then we fail. How does this even? I'm gonna make an executive decision here. We're not gonna go for the AAA for right now. These aren't even like beard colors. We got to come back. We're getting lost in the weeds. We have this running joke at work. Like we have like an extra 20 minutes in a meeting. It's like, oh, just let's pull up a Figma file and talk about the design. Because you can always spend an infinite amount of time talking about design and something and nitpicking it. But we'll go with this. Still, I'm not convinced that's our new brand color scheme, but it works for right now. Like, what about like that pink? All right, I'm getting sidetracked. Brand color red. I think we're gonna change that, aren't we? Let's go with like maybe that's our new brand color. How does that look on contrast? Still pretty bad.
It depends. If you're using it as like a header or a screen title and the font is large enough, it could be okay. Like that's fine.
All right, we're going with it. We might change it later. One other thing I just realized we need to address is like the actual like the top here, and I'm gonna just figure out what that one was again. I think it's header, but I can't remember. Untitled stack drawer. Header. Doing the header bar. This is options title, title, styles. That's what we want. Featuring home options title header style. That's what we want. Header style. All right. Let's just. I'm gonna pull it here. Yeah, we got it. Cool. Let's keep these in alphabetical order. Header style. And then this is actually going to be just the same thing as this. Hey, cool. All right. Got that. All right, let's go back to what we were going to do here, which is our adding a beer. So one way we could do this is taking a picture of the beer. Cool way to do this would be to scan like the barcode. I think that would be really cool if you can get it so it's as easy as possible to add this beer to your inventory. That would be probably the coolest. For the minimal thing though, it's going to be text input. And I think we're going to have that always as a fallback. Like maybe there's no barcode, or maybe the barcode doesn't work, or maybe the computer vision AI that we have some API for doesn't work for a certain beer label or something like that. So I think regardless, we'll still have to have that text input. So might as well build that as like the minimal thing. We'll look at, I am familiar with a few barcode reader libraries out there that we can bring into this app. We just got to find an API, I think, that will actually tell us what those barcodes map to in terms of like a beer inventory or something. So I think we can get started here with actually like building this out. So we can get rid of that, I think. Actually, you know, I'm getting super excited about this stuff. Let's build another folder called components. And let's build one called, I think I mentioned this before, but let's have our naming convention be BC. So for like our own like special components that where we're like extending a basic React native component like text, which is what I'm going to do here. Let's just call it BC text for beer seller text. So we know that like everything that starts with BC is like our own like shared components, but are probably just wrappers around like our own business logic around a React Native component. So this is going to be, we're going to import text from React Native. And I'm just going to create well, we could start off like super simple. So export text, export default text. Let's call this BC text. Const BC text. Like actually, equals. They're just creating like a basic React component. It's going to take that. This is where TypeScript would be really nice. But it's basically, it's going to take props. So in this case, what do we want our props to be? I'm going to just call this. So there's like two basic strategies here. So like one is like, let's call this like text style and like that. So the simplest way we could make this component is like this. So if we want to say like, hey, we don't care at all about how this component's used or what you feed it or anything like that, as long as you give us text style, and then you can put whatever children you want in there. So like, I'm gonna do something like this. Const styles. This will make a lot more sense in just a minute if you bear with me. Stylesheet.create. And we're going to call this like header text. And that is going to take, let's see, I'm going to copy this stuff. I will explain myself shortly, I promise. Are those gonna pull from the right place? Style sheet. Text. Why is this upset? Oh. For screen background color. Okay, we don't actually need that right now. Text, children, text style. There we go. So style equals text style. So what we're going to do here is one way of doing this, which is having like a simple dumb parent component. So BC text for BC text, and then we're going to do BC text. Please here. And then we're going to tell it text style equals header text. Actually, this should be just like header. It's called just header. And then let's come in here and we'll just call this header. And style equals styles dot. Can I do this like this? One second. Like blanking here. Text style. Oh, this should be destructure. Oh, this should actually be like this. No, I can't do this one. Well, we're gonna make this easier. Let me just get this to actually work. One second. Nothing was returned from render. This usually means a return statement is missing. Oh, lol. Hey, cool. So what we're doing here is just like calling this piece of text and get rid of that. So you can see it. And this is passing the text style header, which I haven't actually hooked up yet. I'm just manually doing it because my brain farted and I forgot what the right pattern is for that. And inside this BC text, we have this please add a beer, which here is just children. So like in a React component, like you always have something, you always have children. So no matter what we add, I mean, it will always just like render those inside text. Where this becomes like a problem and where I'm not like a huge fan of it is like, what if I started doing like something like that? What if we did like, I don't know. Like to me, that's weird. Like, so here I've got BC text wrapping. I've got this view inside that's just a 100 by 100 square, background color red. Like the only reason that works is because we have this just children. It's unopinionated BC text. It's just like this dumb parent component. I think like it makes a lot of sense, and like this is like probably whoever is the developer like writing this piece of code is you know, not responsibly interacting with the code base, but it could also be written in like a different way, I think. So you could write it like this other way. Let me show you real quick, which I prefer. something like that. Please add.
At least with TypeScript, you can enforce the type of that child or the children prop. You could say, I'm only allowing a string in here, for example.
Yep. So you can have something like that. And yeah, with TypeScript, TypeScript really shines when you do sort of these like library or like internal library kind of components like this, which is what BC text is going to end up being, is going to be like this pretty handling basically all of our text. So it's just going to be this one big component, handling every single style. Right now, it's not doing that. I can't for the life of me remember this design pattern. This is again like one of those things you like set up one time in a library and only have to do once. So I'm gonna just look this up real quick. Text component styles. I mean, there's, I don't know how to Google this even. Spelling React Native style text. Let's look at this repo. Oh no.
Do you mind talking through what you're trying to create?
Oh, yes. So what I want is like this prop to actually work. And I have this, so I want to be able to use BC text anywhere and just pass this prop text style and tell it like, hey, header, or hey, body, or I know, content or link or something like that. And it's gonna, BC text will have all of the styles to format that itself in just this one file. It'll know what to do based off of that prop. But I can't remember exactly like the way that I want to do this.
So instead of styles.header, would it be styles and then using brackets, but passing in the text style?
Yeah, you're talking like this.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that should work, right? Yeah. Thank you. That is a good way to do it. Yeah, and then so what we could do is just like add more things like body and those things. Cool. So please add a beer. It definitely doesn't need to be that big. Let's play around with this number. We can also do something like header size. Instead of big text. Export const header size. 40.
So right now we kind of have two headers on this page, right? We've got the one that we're manipulating right now, but then we have the one that's part of the React navigation screen.
Yeah.
Do we want to keep both of those?
Yeah, for navigation stuff, I haven't gotten into this a lot because we're just starting here. But for navigation styles, I typically have them be like almost a separate thing. Because usually the styles for your navigation are not going to be used outside of navigation. So like the size of the navigation header here is probably not going to be used elsewhere in the app. It's only going to be it for like the navigation header. So it's probably going to be something like export const. You could even do something like navigation styles. And then like something like header, and then define that size. We can do that right now, actually, if you want. I've seen this a lot in like these iOS apps. So we could maybe build something like this where it's like pretty big header. What else? We want like font weight to be like, I don't know, 600. It's like big and bold. And we need to change the color as well. But we want to do that right here. Where do we have that? Header style, background color, color, close navigation, styles, dot. Oh, we didn't have that yet, do we? What is that? Brand color. It says no effect on header style. Cool. Thanks. Header styles. How do we do this? Header tint color, header style. You said background color on it. Oh, tint color, title style. Yeah, okay. Header title style. Cool. Header style. Header title style. I give React Navigation a pass on these things because it's doing a lot of like heavy performance and native lifting under the hood. So it has like styling these things always is like a annoying thing, I think, of like, what do they call this option? But they like abstract out so much complexity under the hood that I kind of give it a pass. This is also one of those things like you're not going to go into your app and like adjust the tab navigator style like every week. It's going to be one of those things you basically do once and then never again, or like you do it once, you send it to the designer or whoever, and they're like, oh, tweak this, tweak this, tweak this, and you do that, and then you're done. That's the more realistic one. But let's just do this. Navigation styles. Oh yeah, that's right. We did do brand color. That work? That was actually a pretty nice error too. That it was like, hey, it didn't just like blow up and be like, no, you can't do that. It's like, hey, this doesn't have an effect. Go look at the docs. And then what do we want? We wanted like font weight, which we're putting in navigation styles of font weight. And we had, what else do we have? Size font. To do this font size here, that's interesting. Navigation styles dot header. So that's poorly named. Oh, okay, yeah. So this is telling me like, hey, that's the font weight that I had for 600. I gave it a number, NS number. So that's NS is like the type on native that we're dealing with. So I'm giving it a number, and it's like, hey, I'm expecting a NS string. So all that is making that a string. They should be happy now. And then we call this header. So this was something that I didn't think was, I had to like think for a second, and I just wrote this to remember what it was called. So we should probably change that name to like header font size. And I'll probably change that name too in a second. Header font size. All right, that thing is huge. We're gonna have to style the crap out of that. But I think this is probably gonna be fine for right now. I will solve that by just making it a little bit smaller. Let's make it like that for right now. What we'll probably do is like align this like iOS style, like giant, super heavy to the left of like the new way iOS styles things. For right now, this is fine. Let's add a beer. So what are we going to actually do here? We want kind of like an input field, right? So we want like.
What are you thinking? Like the beer name and anything else right now? Description or just the name, just to get started?
I think I'm just going to write these out like this. I think name. Oh, I guess brewery name and like beer name and year and I don't know, price, something like that for right now. And then we could do like notes, something like that. Does that make sense? All right, I'll try to go a little bit faster with this. So we have like our BC text. We're going to actually copy this. Just go quickly through this. We need a BC text input component, which is going to be like the same thing except inputs. It takes a text input component from React Native. BC text input. Should have probably changed everything. BC text input. Text input. All right. We can take a real quick look at text input from React Native. You see here. This is basically what we get. Cool. That's what we want. We're gonna have, let's see, a basic text input. We need to make it store state. So we'll store state in this component. So const brewery name, set brewery name.
So React Native has the same kind of concept of controlled and uncontrolled components.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. My bind's a little bit there. Yeah, and you'll use like the same thing as you would in like a React component. Like in this case, I'm just going to use state to store it. And then we're going to be doing these for beer name. Price. And notes. Cool. TypeScript would actually yell at me in this situation because they would complain that they're not all type strings. But these should all be strings, I think. I think price should still be a string. And the name should be a string. Price could be a number, I guess. I don't know.
What about year?
Oh yeah, did I forget year? Thank you. Yep. So what did I do to this component? for
I think you may have overwritten the function definition.
it. Cool. Yeah, and then I want how do we do? Then I ran into this issue before, didn't I? Okay, that's how you do it. Yeah. All right, cool. Cool. And then I think you're mentioning this, Taylor, about like controlled components versus not controlled. You wanna talk about that?
So when you're dealing with components, typically on the web side of things, you can let the DOM manage your quote state of that component by essentially setting the value in the DOM and fetching the value from the DOM. But React also allows you the option to do a controlled component where the state is actually managed by React itself. And actually, let me make sure I'm saying that right. And someone in the chat, feel free to correct me. I feel like there is an excellent article by Kent C. Dodds on this, explaining kind of the differences between a controlled and non-controlled. And I'm not necessarily seeing it. So if I find it later, I'll make a post for that. But I will post the link to the React docs. And this is React, not React Native. Yeah, controlled versus uncontrolled. They're just two different ways to handle inputs, specifically around forms in React. Yeah, I don't know how much detail you wanted to go into, Eric.
That works. I think everyone can look at the docs too, if you're not familiar with it. But yeah, definitely a good topic. I'm gonna bring these text components in, these text inputs. I'm gonna do it all here first, and then I'm gonna build out our component. But here is like a basic text input. Let me just like clear out. I've literally just copy and pasted this from the React Native docs. And we're gonna set the name here. Like that, and then set Brewery. Oh, I actually want to do it like this. Set, and we're going to not have that as a string. Let me just bear with me just a second here. Just gonna add a couple more of these. We'll keep one of these. We'll set the price. You'll see these in just a second. Here, I'll add the rest later. Add a here. No prop type value. Type numbers applied to full ref text input expected string. Okay. Oh, we do need we do need styles on here. Let me just add the last here here, or last input, and I can delete all these. Let's do it like this, actually. So I'm just like saving these as the initial state, just so we know what they are. Good. All right, and we have like no style on these, so that looks kind of weird. But these were allowing like React Native to just work with useState to store these values. But one thing I want to show that's pretty cool about React Native text input is like here, I just changed the keyboard with this component. So here I'm in like your name. I've got this regular keyboard. I go to year, I get the numeric keyboard. I go to price, I get the numeric keyboard. I go back to notes, I get the regular keyboard. And all of that is just from this prop here, keyboard type. Definitely something like when I first became a mobile developer and learned about like how to control these things, especially with React Native, where it's just this one prop. I have to say this ruined my experience of many mobile apps because I'm just like, it's just one prop. Come on, because there's so many apps that don't like interact this way. Like I don't know if you've had to like enter in numbers or email addresses, and you just have this keyboard and it's like all the compared to you to enter in a number like this. It's also like a nice way to like guide users to like what kind of input it is without them having to think too hard about it.
Does React Native kind of allow you to specify different OS specific inputs?
Yes.
Okay.
So here's the keyboard type prop, which like the only ones I really use are like the default or like the numeric. The email address one is nice because it gets you like it gets you like the quick to like the email stuff. I'll just show you real quick. Is that not it? Email address. Which one did I put that one on here? So you get like the @ down here and the dot. So you can get pretty easy. I swear there used to be one that would have like @Gmail and stuff, but I don't know where that one is anymore. Then the other pretty cool thing, so you have these like, this works across iOS and Android, so you don't need to worry about platform specifics. But then iOS has a lot of its own special ones. I don't even know what this Twitter one is. Let's see what Twitter is. She gives me an @ and the hashtag at the bottom. Okay, that makes sense. The other thing that is really big here is text. Where is it? Should be something here. I just hyped it up and then I can't find it. That doesn't help. That's it. No. So there's one, I don't know, I can't find text content type. Yeah, there we go. Woo. This one's huge. So you get all of these different props. So if you wanted, like, for instance, if this were like a login form or like a sign up form, you could do things as like a new password or one-time code for like the multi-factor, like you get a text code and you, like if you're familiar with iOS, you get that like, do you want to autofill with the text code you just got?
I love that. That saves my bacon so many times as a user.
It's super nice. It's super nice. And it's super, super, super easy. Like literally for that, like you were talking about something as complex as this. You're saying that, like setting this text input to numeric, or like what do you call it? The text content type, and setting the text content type to like one-time code, and then boom, now you've got a text input that can handle that one-time code. Input gives the user a numeric keypad to enter it in manually, or if they get that text, the SMS, the system will just say like, hey, do you want to just autofill it with that? And that was just like these few props here. So there's like definitely tons of nice little things you can add to make that user experience better. Like automatically filling an email address, huge. You can also, like, if the person has saved like themselves and their contact information, like you can auto populate like almost everything you would need from like a shipping address or their name, things like that. This works with password managers as well. So like this thing is great. If you're doing text input, you should probably consider both. Always consider the keyboard type and the text content type, because that's going to be like I said, like pretty big wins for user experience and really easy to add. Yeah. So, and then if you want to see it in action, like on an iOS simulator, it's like Command K to bring up the actual keyboard, or I think you can do it here, toggle software keyboard. Well, just does that. So you can check it out. Yeah, so we are storing the beer name. I think we need to style the crap out of this. We're just like almost everything to do with text is just going to take the regular styles. But we can also, what's not supported is this. Yeah, this is fine. Any questions so far? Cool. I think this screen is probably going to be, I'm realizing now it's already like 7 o'clock here. Probably gonna be the last screen that we work on today, but I just want to style it up and get it a little bit better in a little bit better of a spot. So I'm gonna try to go kind of quickly here. We have a way to like input our beer name, our year, our price, and some notes. Do we have anything else in the price? Oh, and the brewery name, which is here. And one other thing I want to do is, oh, by the way, sometimes if you get your app in like a janky state from errors and stuff, like the Command R won't work in the simulator. So if you just press R in the terminal where Metro is running, it'll just restart the bundler. So we want to like style this stuff, and we want to create like a submit button or something like that. So I'm going to do like BC button. Thought I was going to BC button.js. And then here we're just import React from React and import touchable opacity from React Native. So in React Native, like there are multiple ways to do buttons. Like one, you can just use the button from React Native, which is just simple defaults. But usually you probably are going to do something more like building a custom styled button. And so you have like the touchables. So there's touchable opacity, which the opacity is like when you click into it, it dims, right? It adds that opacity as you tap into it and release. That's the opacity. You have touchable without feedback, which is basically only use this if you have like a really good reason, because it sort of feels like a dead button on mobile. Like I'm tapping it, tapping it, tapping it. You see no kind of interaction going on. And then touchable highlight is like you make it darker, basically, in this case. But touchable opacity is like kind of a default one to use. We will look at pressables later. Pressables is like, if you want to go a step further in customizing the style and interactivity of that button, pressables are a new thing that gives you a lot more control over what's going on. So you get a lot of things like on press in, on press out, just a regular, instead of just a on press, which is what you basically get with the touchables. You can do long presses and those things. We'll look into this more and talk about like advanced gestures and interactions and stuff later, but for right now, we'll just do touchable opacity. So this is going to return us. Let's just return touchable opacity right now. And export default PC touchable, or yeah, touchable opacity. I was gonna yell us. Const PC button roles. Like that. I'm just doing this right now like this because I'm very lazy and want to get through some of this to do some of the cool stuff. So right now I'm just wrapping touchable opacity for no reason whatsoever, other than like I know I'm going to come back here and style this up. But yeah. And then we can do like a inside of here, you see text. And how do we actually write this? We did value submit, or like add here. And let's do text style equals button text, maybe. You know? And since we're putting everything into BC text as props, it's a very simple component in self-closing. What do we call this thing again? We call it button text. And that should be something that what takes color. What colors do we have again that play nicely together? Should be like maybe our light pink color, brand color, maybe brand color. Or that should probably be like the.
Yeah, I would go with the light pink. That's like a nice call to action contrast against the brand.
Okay. Cool. Button text. So that should work now, right? BC button text, BC text. May have needed to add some height and width. No, it's not showing up at all. BC text, taking a text style and a value. The BC text style. What if we do like this? Is this showing up at all? Yeah, it's there. So BC button is our problem. BC button, we just wrote that. What does it do? All right, let's be serious about what we're doing. Oh, it's also not taking the children either. So this might be a case where we actually want the children. We can do style equals style, which is the prop style that we're getting. And then we can do something like this. Let's see. Yeah, so that's working. What do we want this background color to be? Like, should the background be the light pink or should the background be the brand color? What do you think?
Yeah, I'd probably do the background as the light pink.
Let's think. And then the button text as brand color. Is that going to show up? Cool. So we go like dark or light. We could do like maybe font weight 600, something like that. Oh yeah. Eric, you never remember. Let's do this as well. Styles equals style sheet. So this is going to be like the same thing we did for our other chair component. We're going to do like the same kind of style. So we're going to take the add beer. Should close this. We're going to take that style that we did. And what do we call this? Like submit, maybe? Submit style. And just bring in all of these. Oh, we need a style sheet. What else do we need? Styles. So how do we do that one before? We did styles and then what do we call this, like button style? And then this we call button style. And let's submit. Like it says the background color light pink. Wait, no, that doesn't. With background color, button style. Oh, it's submit, right? Yeah. Anything you're seeing here? You see button style. Here's the children. Returns touchable opacity, style. How do we do it over here? Same way, right?
Oh, stylesheet.create.
Oh. Thank you. One thing we need here is some border radius, right? Can't have jagged edges. I have no idea if that's going to be our border radius, but we also need to like align line items, center, justify content, center. Right, we have a button in the center there. If you notice, we're also we are committing crimes here. We have literals, numbers and colors, and numbers and colors. So I think we'll need to get this right here, and then we can move on. Button text, font size. It's going to be like button size. Our typography is starting to get messy, as you see. So we're going to need to like clean this up soon. But I think, what do we say, 40? And font weight. So you can also do like font weight. Something like that. We'll come back to this. There's going to be like a way that makes this a lot simpler to understand. So we'll worry about that when we have a mess to deal with, and as it is in real life. So we'll have these like conflicting things here. Font weights dot I think call it. Oh, that is pretty big. Oh, did we do it the wrong place? No. No, that's right. That's right. Button size. No. We have to do that again. Huh. Why is it so huge? Anybody understand why? Oh, I guess it's accurate. Okay. Text size should be. Okay, and then color. For right now, just gonna do that. Boom. So now this is like what you want in like what you want your style sheets to look like. Generally, I think this is like a good target is to like have 0 literal values in your style sheet and only have style constants like this. Yeah, that seems fine. Let's see what else. we probably want this to be like actually doing something. So for that, want like the on press. So this is like on click on web. But for us, it's on press in React Native land. And so I'm gonna just end with this, I think, because it's getting pretty late. Yeah. I'm gonna try to make this somewhat okay. Does this work? Oh, hold on one second. We got babies. 1 second.
I don't think we've talked about where the console will log things out. Like, where can we see the console?
You should be able to see here in the Metro bundler, but can't right now. This other place to see it is here. So, light one, and it's not working. Why is that? On press. I mean, so what we can be a bit more heavy-handed. So there's this other thing you can do. You've probably seen it in the mobile app before, called an alert. And we're just going to be in your face about this. I don't know why the console isn't working. Like this should be working. Console log. Yeah, so we'll just import this from React Native. You'll see what this is all about in just a second. And press, going to alert. See, beer name. Let's just do this. This should pop us like an alert. It didn't do. Here we go. Weird. Was that? Did I overcomplicate this? Totally overcomplicated. So we have that there. So this is Flipper, by the way. We can definitely go into that more as well. But Flipper is like a debugging tool for mobile, but especially for React Native to use. Thanks for linking that. Yeah, my brain is farting pretty hard at this point. I can't even get like a console log to work properly. I swear like this should just work, but yeah. So I think I have to call it there. Anybody have any like last questions or anything? Any feedback too, like what you'd like to see for this, for the next one?
I'll just say really quickly, we'll try to get this up on GitHub. Do you want to save that for next time, or do you want to do that in between? And that way people next week can pull the project if they want to.
Yeah. Yeah, why don't we do that in the interim probably.
Okay.
Put it up there so we can start playing around with it. Cool. Thank you all.
Cool.
See you next week.